Hello, chat. How is the audio? Are we doing well with the audio?
Hello, hello.
Is this even a thing?
Is this a thing? Is this thing on?
Against my better judgment, I'm going to turn on autofocus. But
It makes it more
Really?
fun.
yeah, I mean, autofocus really is not a
Does
great
it do
idea.
face detection?
Yeah,
Oh, then it should. Well,
Good.
it's Panasonic.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Gordon says, "Oh, okay. I think we're looking good. I think we're looking good. Wendell, you ready?
Yep.
Gordon, you ready?
We are as ready as we're gonna be.
All right. I'm gonna push the button to go live on our end. Everything looks like it's holding.
So something magical about this stream, if you're watching this on the Level 1 Text channel, it's actually on the PC World channel too.
We have process streams, folks. We have process streams.
We have.
Wow, wait. So
And
your
we're live.
the audio is literally.
Yeah, I'm
That's-
feeding my audio
We
to
didn't do a
him.
mic this time. It's almost like we know what we're doing. We're
That
almost
is
professional.
crazy. And you know what the cool thing is, Internet? We are here from the heart of Las Vegas in AMD's demo booth. Behind you, you can see all the press, the freeloading press, getting the free drinks. I got one already. They're looking at systems. We got a bunch of systems running Ryzen here, of course, and Radeon. Got one, in fact, in front of us, a Radeon I'm going to get it right, RX 7900 XTX. Of course, the return. If you're an old timer, you remember XTX. If you don't know what XTX is, you're new to this game. So, let the old people tell you it's actually been used before.
Beefy.
Beefy, big, beefy card, but let's call it what it is. It's the all shade edition. That's what I think it is. This is the all shade, and I don't mean shader performance. What I mean, Internet, is it's AMD throwing as much shade at the Green Company as they have in a long time. Wouldn't you agree?
2 3/4 slots.
Oh, yeah, 2 3/4 slots.
And yeah,
Oh, wait, but the guy, Wendell, what I need to know because I'm angry, I'm the Internet. Show me the power connector on this card.
it's 2 8-pin.
There you
8-pin
go.
power.
So yes, it uses conventional 6+8 power. No dongle, no 12-volt high power. All that drama bypass. Right. So of course, theoretically, we'll see. But I mean, there's definitely, there's been the drama of the 12-volt high power. Obviously, I'm sure NVIDIA would say too soon for them, but they don't have it here. But I do want to tell you, if you thought that AMD originally said, oh my God, 12-volt high power is disaster, we're not going to do it. The decision is baked in about a year ago. So it's not like they just suddenly hit the brakes, threw it in a reverse and did a reverse. They didn't. It's actually been, the decision was made a long time ago. Do we want to go over specs or do we want to just go for it? You've probably seen all the news. Oh, yeah, it's something you want to know. You just want to skip to the end.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are inferring things from the price, and I don't think you can infer things from the price.
So there's the price for the XTX card, which is the top end unit, $999, and for the XT, so the 7900 XT, $899. So $100 less.
And when can we get it, Gordon?
You will be able to buy these on December 13th. So that is coming up really, really soon. Where are the specs of these games?
now let's go over specs.
Let's get the specs. I'm trying to find it here.
There's so many slides.
I am running on a caffeine pill, so I'm a little amped up. No lunch because, of course, we're getting that trade show feature here.
Dr. Ian Cuttress, Tech Potato.
We miss you, Ian.
yeah.
We miss you, Ian.
Where are you? He's off doing more important things.
Yeah, so sad you're not here, but he says Gordon's rocking the Britney mic.
Yeah, actually, by the way, in my daytime job, I'm now an air traffic controller. So, United Heavy 785, you are clear for runway 74 west.
Is she actually doing shows again? Because we could probably go catch her.
I have no idea.
She's probably here, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's start off 79 Radeon RX 7900 XTX, the top end unit. Again, $999, 96 CUs, 2.3 gigahertz game clock, 24 gigs of GDDR6, not 6X, on a 384-bit bus. Oh, and look at that. We said let there be light. Light is on now.
Wow, okay.
And of course, the other shade is DisplayPort 2.1. So, you know, there was a lot of head scratching with the 40 years was launched with only DisplayPort 1.4. We got DisplayPort not even 2.0, but 2.1, brand new, just came out. Not that new, but let's face it, just came out. Also, AV1 encode and decode. Yes, by the way, ARC, you were a little late because everybody's got AV1 decode encode. That is, of course, $999. 355 watt total board power for that one. For the 7900 XT for $100 less, you step down to 84 CUs, 2 gigahertz game clock, 20 gig, 320-bit GDR6 RAM on a 320-bit bus, DisplayPort 2.1, so at least no cheap out there. You're still getting AV1 encode, decode, and board power now goes down to 300 watts. So again, I call this the all shade edition because there is a lot of shade here because it's a fairly small card. It's pretty big, but it's not as big as some of these cards we're seeing from the other vendors.
No.
Right? Some of them, I've never seen what you've seen, and you have a 40 series, right?
Yeah, I've got the Zotac 4090, and it's so large. You know how there's not a lot of PCIe slots on pretty much any modern motherboard? You literally can't use anything because with the PCIe 5, it's like, let's put it closer to the CPU, but you can't. You will be able to with this.
It's really, yeah, I mean, it really is a reasonably sized card. Exact measurements, 287 millimeter length for this, basically the stock card from AMD. That's the length, and it's a 2.5 slot card at 355 watts. So again, it's all shade toward NVIDIA here because it is smaller, it is less power, and it doesn't have the 12-volt high power thing going. So pretty decent.
It doesn't need it, apparently. Or maybe we'll see other designs that are fancy with fans.
You know,
they're fancy.
they did imply that. So I think, because no, the thing is, Wendell and I have to be careful because we are live. Everything we say does not come back. There's things that came out today at 2 o'clock. But there's also things we've been briefed about, and you get a little loopy. You've been up since 6 a.m. You don't want to screw up and get in trouble.
I'm not even from this time zone.
Not even from this time zone. He's not even from this time zone. But I think in the Q&A session this afternoon, they did say, look, our board is great. It's awesome. But our board partners
Have some magic coming.
going to have some magic coming. So we only did 3 8-pin. Maybe the board partners might add more power to it.
Two 8-pin.
Two 8-pin on this one. Maybe a board partner is going to do more.
Yeah.
And they're really implying that it's possible the AIB versions
Yep.
could be really powerful versus the reference card. Right?
They were also really super hung up on 54% performance per watt improvement.
Yeah, what do you think about that? 'Cause there are a lot of 54s there. It's 54%.
I'd tell you, but it's behind an NDA.
Oh, okay. But
I don't know.
But they're still saying basically performance per watt is 54% over
Yes.
Ryzen or Radeon
RDNA
6000, RDNA 2.
Yeah.
Pretty big.
That is a big jump.
And actual performance is basically, you know, I'll read this off the official slide that we know today. 1.5x for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Watch Dogs Legion 1.5, Cyberpunk, they got it there too. Cyberpunk 2077 1.7. By the way, that's how you get a clever marketing thing up to 1.7.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ignore the 1.5.
I don't trust Cyberpunk as some reasonable beacon of, oh, let's show off our new technology. They don't. It's obvious that they're not doing any optimizations in the game, and so it's. They covered esports titles, but esports titles aren't really super demanding. But they did talk about esports titles running at like 1 billion FPS at the ultra highest fidelity settings. But it's a little, it's a catch-22 either way. It's like we've got this game that is not super optimized, and then we've got the esports titles that are super optimized, but you can get 1 billion FPS on a potato class GPU as well.
And that, to me, that is kind of the one thing that I'm seeing all the hand-wringing about, all the drama of, because we see a lot of comparisons to RDNA 2 here.
Yeah.
We have not seen one single number from AMD comparing it to any NVIDIA GPUs.
Yeah.
What do you think that means?
I'm worried about that.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think? Is they're hiding something?
No, I just, it's like, tell us you're still working on the drivers without telling us you're still working on the drivers.
Huh, okay.
Maybe.
Maybe that
A little
could be
worried
it.
about it.
Do you think it's also because they just want to let people wonder what it is, build up that drama,
Well,
build up the drama?
okay, the best possible way you can put it together is look at this. Look at this magic insanity here. We can, without having any special knowledge, we know that it's an absolutely absurd level of interconnectedness on this. We know from like Vega that it was absurdly expensive to do HBM memory. And this looks like it might be, a similar packaging technology. This is the GDR, we can see from the teardown that this is, we can infer some things here. I'm being really careful with the NDA territory.
Okay.
But because this is chiplet and because they said this is the first chiplet design, theoretically the cost of producing this should be pretty good. And they can get more use out of silicon that can be defective. Like, I happen to notice that some of the numbers they give us in the presentation are in exact ratios of 6 versus 5. It's like, can I infer that one that maybe wasn't 6, that didn't pass certification for 6 connects, can I infer that maybe that's the 5 version? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, probably, yeah. But that speaks to something about yield. And they also talk about, 5 and 6 nanometer processes, and we know the yields there are really good. So is this an aggressive move to try to get more market share from something that is easy to produce? Relatively easy.
Do you think that could be done at this price? Because I mean, although they do point out that $1,000 was what a 6,900 cost.
It didn't go up in price, but consider that my food bill has gone up 40% in the last year. So it's actually cheaper than a 6900 XT, I would argue.
That's true when you consider the inflation we've seen from when the 6900 came out to where we're at now. I live in California, I'm paying like $95 a gallon, so it's gone up considerably.
I'm sorry, real quick, I 2 questions from Ian. One of them is Vega was an interposer, wasn't it?
Radeon 7, sorry.
Oh, Radeon 7. Okay,
That's
and
what
then he says, Wendell, please tell him how it tastes.
Oh yeah, he's gonna taste it for Ian right here.
There you go. Ian's jealous. Ian is jealous. He's on his way now.
I think it's hints of cinnamon.
Nutmeg.
A little bit of pumpkin, some cinnamon. It's got
Pumpkin
that
spice for the
holiday
fall, yeah.
flavor
So
and smell.
on the one side, you can say cost of production, aggressive pricing, market share. On the other side, you can say the performance isn't quite there, or maybe not, we don't know. Or, we want to sort of price it at parity and still sell. And, maybe there's a coming economic apocalypse for Christmas and that's factored in with the price. Just depends on which side of the fence you are. They didn't give us enough info to really say either way. The stuff in the slides in the presentation, I think looks good, but what's not there is concerning.
Yeah, because it gives everybody's room for everybody's imagination a lot of room to run.
Yeah, because
they could freak out. And
if you're going to say that Cyberpunk runs at 60 whatever, I can't remember, but if you're going to say it runs 1.7 times faster, and you're not going to talk about other stuff you can buy that runs at a certain performance parity, and you're also going to mix in FSR, which sounds really good, and it sounds like really good improvements there, there's just enough noise that the signal to noise ratio there is not great.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
No, I mean that is a problem, because I think there's a lot of the unease that I'm seeing. A lot of the reactions are, I want more data.
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit more about where it's going to fall. It would have felt good to see. Maybe it would have been good to see this thing kicking the crap out of a 3080 Ti.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it would have felt that it would make you feel.
Yeah.
But they didn't provide that, and I guess that's why some people are like. But again, the thing is, I read into a lot of the body language that I'm seeing. To me,
There's aggression.
When you go,
Which
let
is
me
good.
tell you, when Intel comes around about ARC, it's like, oh my God, the body language is like, we're so sorry, it's so late, we're so sorry, we're gonna make it up. The body language here from AMD is, we're ready to fight. We're gonna fight. And again, last night it's been reported already, right? That because it was public. Scott Herkelman came out and he said, we're gonna kick, let me paraphrase it, we're gonna kick NVIDIA's effing ass, right? So I'm gonna say that in a Disney kind of friendly way, but they are spoiling for a fight with this part.
To that point, there are a lot of really impressive demos here, as early as it is in the driver life cycle probably. in terms of just, okay, if crypto mining were still a thing, I would be really worried about miners snapping up these things because, I mean, some of this stuff looks pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, what was the compute here? It's 61 teraflops.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
61 teraflops versus 23 teraflops of RDNA 2. Honestly, teraflops I've always kind of seen as mostly marketing kind
Yeah.
of thing. It's hard to translate, but that's still significant, right? That is
54% performance per watt, always a concern for miners. When we're talking about the 4090 ecosystem in the context of miners are probably less interested in that than this.
We got we have an AMD person who's ready to come chat with us.
Oh, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So
Hello.
please.
You need a microphone? Did they mic you?
Hi, I
Mike?
think I have
She
it.
is mic'd up.
I'm ready to go.
Hey, Internet, we have a special treat for you. It is Laura Smith,
That's me.
CVP. It's, gosh, sorry, I'm mangling this.
Oh, did they give you like the big long
The full,
corporate
yeah,
title?
and I can't produce. It's the CVP of graphics. Or, oh my God, I can't read my own handwriting now. It's so long. Basically,
Wait,
you're way up in the graphics side.
Yeah, so I'm on the graphics side, and I own our graphics roadmap for the BU, and work with Sam and the folks that you guys have met to lay these products out and get ready to bring great stuff out for gamers.
So, so the questions are, I'd love to talk about this because I haven't had a chance to talk about it with Wendell yet.
All right.
Because it is the world's first chiplet GPU, right? And I know we can't talk about everything yet, but what can you tell me? What's the advantage of your chiplet design over conventional monolithic that you've used before, as well as your competitors?
That's right. Okay, I can give you really what we sat in the room, and to tell you the truth, we think about it every single generation. So we knew chiplet was going to come because basic physics, you keep building bigger and bigger and bigger chips. Process nodes don't all deliver enough shrink to cover what you want to do for performance. And so, we've been for a long time tracking when's the right inflection point to go to chiplets. And really what that is when you look and go, okay, I want to build something with a ton of widgets, tons of flexibility, but I want to be able to do it in a way that people can actually afford to enjoy it. And so one of the nice things about that is for anybody out there that is kind of gets into technology details, when you use a process node, some things shrink really well and they do fantastic. Other things, they don't really shrink. And so the advantage of that is we can put the stuff that doesn't shrink in the older process node, costs us less money. We can put the stuff that does shrink in the newer process node and run it faster.
Okay.
So it just gives us some more flexibility to put more performance in the product.
And so, like, you've used that same strategy with Ryzen
Yes.
to really disrupt. I mean, you guys have really disrupted the entire PC, world back when the original Ryzen came out through chiplet design. How much can we expect that to happen this time too? Oh, there we go.
So
Good.
So first of all, I think it's interesting that you've got PC World into that sentence.
I had to.
That was pretty good. That's pretty good. So I would say that what you can expect is like we unveiled today. We put all that effort into the engineering specifically because we wanted to provide excellent performance in a more cost appropriate way. So I can tell you, first principle, what was the motivation to do it? Motivation to do it is to disrupt what you would naturally have to do from a traditional cost structure.
Yeah, I'm just wondering because it did change everything, right? Because originally Ryzen democratized CPU core counts, which we hadn't seen before. I guess everybody has very high hopes with the chiplet design here as well. I mean, but you can't say.
I can't talk about future products,
Right.
but I can tell you that we've had this in the pipe for about 3 years.
Okay.
And so we're really excited to get to show it off and show it to folks because you're exactly right. As a company, we've been doing chiplets and other product lines, and we knew there would be a time when it was right for graphics. So.
Okay. And can we get any hints about how you're going to do against competition, or we'll have to wait on that? Or
I think you're going to have to. The truth is, if I told you, you would believe I was telling you the truth, but you would want to test it for yourself, right?
True.
Right.
True.
So we'll do our best to get them out so that you can evaluate it yourself. And
Okay. I mean, because that is what everybody wants to know. Like, I want to know how fast it is, and frankly, that always comes down to which one should I buy.
Yeah.
And for, I'm going to say it again, Laura Smith, CVP, graphics, MNC, and product management. Which GPU should consumers buy?
they
That's
should
a
buy
softball question.
They
That's
should buy a
softball question.
Radeon.
Okay,
They
okay.
should be our
I'm
Radeon.
shocked.
I want to tell you that I love our brand new products that we're bringing out, but we really absolutely want to bring the best gaming products for every single person out there. And so, hopefully people can get out and enjoy the new series that we're bringing out today. But we have great products across all the different price points and for whatever type of gaming people are.
Okay. No, great. Because I really feel you guys are ready to mix it up this time.
Ready to mix
Right?
it
It
up.
feels like it. It
Ready
really
to
feels
mix it
like
up.
it. So.
Yeah.
But thank you for stopping by.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's cool.
Oh, that was a good time. So we do have some questions from the
Oh.
chat. There was somebody asking about. Ian was asking if there's a wafer here. No, there's no wafer here.
No wafer. No wafer, Ian. But you know what? You can still bite it. It's like part of a wafer. But I
Yes.
guess Ian only bites wafers.
It tastes like cinnamon and aluminum.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you're right though. It did remind me that it does look somewhat like a Vega die. I
Yeah.
mean, packaged, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that of course I was.
It's not remotely the same technology, but
Yeah, no, I mean obviously, so they're on both edges. You're getting your cache MCD. That's what is
the
that?
MCD and the GCD.
Memory
New terms.
cache die, right?
We learned more about that, and so now I'm scared of saying anything.
Oh, you're right. But because I wanted to make sure, but they did talk about the interconnect speed, right? They are claiming that it is
Oh yeah, from the slide.
it is basically
we
saying
do have a slide on
the
that. Let me find it.
world's fastest interconnect, I think, right, for the memory.
Yeah,
Let's make sure I'm not getting in trouble here, because
and
my mouth does.
they had a speed too, which was absurd.
It's got to be up higher.
Chat, can you fill us in?
I'm finding the slide. I'm finding the slide.
There's a lot of slides.
Oh, it's 5.3 terabytes per second.
Okay.
Yes,
good.
that's the one I was looking for. 5.3 terabytes.
And that-
from this tiny little thing. This is a speed of light problem. Light, okay, at 5 gigahertz, light can move through a vacuum about this far, this distance from my fingers. That's the speed of light. There's nothing faster than the speed of light. And this thing can move that many bits in that fraction of a time. That is insane.
Now, of course, the other thing is, people were really, really amazed by M1 Ultra because they basically took M1s and they welded them together. This has got more than double the interconnect speed of an M1 Ultra, right?
Yeah, but see, the crazy thing with the M1 is everybody's like, oh, the memory latency is going to be so much better. Wrong. It's not better. I expected that too. That was not the case.
Really?
Yeah.
So, but the fact that they're able to achieve that with this is, so that really is a big deal, I guess, is to be able to hit 5.3.
There's potential here in what they've presented for this to just be incredible. But, it's like, carry us across the finish line, please.
Ian's
And I mean
got
that.
Ian's got another really high level question. Is 2.0 PJ per bit the right number?
No,
Okay.
Is that, can we,
we can't.
yeah. We can't answer it.
And then Bat Tech, we're going to go by a little more high level. Bat Tech gave us $5 Canadian. Thank you so much. Said people are surprised by the $999 price tag, but will the truth be that they had to price it low because they are not there with both raster and ray tracing performance?
Yeah, see, that's what we were talking about earlier. It's like if you take, but based on what our VP just said, no, we're aggressively because we want more people. We want the Radeon family.
Yeah, you're right though, because I mean, again, to point out that it's the same price as 6900. So the price has actually gone down because performance is going up. You're getting more performance
Yeah.
for your money.
Yeah. And we know we know that the process node costs have also gone up,
Right.
but good yield plus being able to recycle every square millimeter of silicon, maybe that'll help them. I mean, in terms of cost per unit silicon, that's something Ian can do, is do the comparison. It's like, okay, 4090 is this is this. It uses this many square millimeters for each one, and we know that the yield on this side with chiplets is probably going to be higher than this one that's monolithic.
Do you think NVIDIA's pricing, because obviously they had very high prices at launch, they basically said, like, look, man, it ain't getting cheaper. TSMC's not going, hey, you want a 20% discount?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I sort of expected that maybe NVIDIA would be able to cut prices, but maybe they can't. Is it possible?
Well, look, 4090 went out of stock because they said, I think, publicly, they decided to focus on data center and workstation products. So it's like they could produce it, but they could sell it for more to somebody else. And that's their right. They can do that to shareholders and blah, blah, blah. But this is a product for gamers. There's not a data center version of this.
The other thing I'm wondering too is, because a lot of the rumors seem to pitch this launch as going up against 4090.
Yeah, I know. And nothing in the presentation has suggested that,
Yeah, and I think
except maybe power usage.
they haven't said at all, right, that it would.
Yeah.
It's not. So I don't really know. Should we be disappointed that they don't have something?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, they might be. So for me, for the 6000 series, like the product in the 6000 series was the 6600 XT and the 6700 XT. And that's because when you look at Steam and everything else, like, the GTX 1060 is the best-selling card of all time, blah, blah, blah. If you're a gamer and you come from a 1060 and you buy a 6600 or a 6700, I can't imagine you would be anything other than absolutely tickled pink. And, maybe for somebody that's in that market, $899, $999, that's probably pushing it. But maybe this will enable that product at the mid-market that's as good as that. Because that's another thing that I sort of think that Team Green fumbled a little bit.
Not having a
Like the 3060 and then the 3060 other
I
edition.
hate
Oh
to
my
inter- I
God!
hate to interrupt. I heard this is where you guys interview like the tech luminaries, like of our
Say hi.
introduce
Slightly
yourself.
different
This is
angle.
Brian with
BPS.
BPS Customs.
BPS Customs.
I occasionally make YouTube videos that are like at least like mediocre. So
They're awesome.
they are actually pretty awesome. You guys should go watch them.
Brian's awesome.
But I saw you guys hanging out over here. I'm like, I can't let them have all the fun.
no.
So
You gotta have. We wanted you for your hot takes.
Oh, I have
Apparently
hot
Brian's
takes.
got hot takes.
What
today.
about the encoder? There's an OBS demo right here, just out of frame, and they're doing everything with OBS, and it's a drop-down menu, and you just pick the thing, and it works, and that's
it actually
never
is
been
really
that way
nice.
before.
One of the things that I talked about in the video that I posted earlier today about the launch was that I am excited that AMD's kind of paying attention now to things like streaming and things like they mentioned Adobe Premiere. When was the last time you heard an AMD card and Adobe Premiere in the same sentence?
Yeah.
Right? So right now we obviously don't know a huge amount about what that performance uplift is going to look like versus previous generations. But I'm excited to try it.
Yeah.
I've said for years now, I would love to have an AMD GPU in my system just for variety. See how it performs, see what it does in different applications and whatnot, test it out on like a daily basis.
Well, there were people at least on the Level 1 forum that were saying, I'm going to pick up an ARC 380 just for the AV1
The
stuff.
encoding.
Yeah, and now it's like,
But the problem is, have they put an ARC 380 in their system yet? Because I did, and I couldn't boot it. So that's a thing.
yeah. Yeah, I've heard that there are problems with the original G-Sync monitors and ARC.
I was using a G-Sync monitor, so
Yeah.
maybe that was the issue.
Yeah.
But I took me hours of troubleshooting to try to figure out how to get that card to work.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like I'm glad that they came out with stuff, but it's still they got a ways to go. I think I'd still rather have a single card solution.
Yeah.
For that kind of an application.
Yeah, Steve let me borrow a 380, and I just got a 770. And the things that work great, but you can step in the wrong place and you fall 3 stories.
That is absolutely true. Yeah, I ran some games. So I was doing like a budget GPU comparison type video where I was like at a 6400 and whatever else, right? And there was a game that I fired up that I don't remember what it was. It ran at 7 FPS, and I'm like everything else was in like the 40s, and I'm
Yeah.
like this is not right.
My new favorite thing is to try to make old games for old DirectX 9 work through the Vulkan DXVK layer, which was originally developed for Linux.
Look, I have an old fashioned in my hand, man. You're going way too deep right now.
So this thing that was developed for Linux to make old DirectX games work on Linux will enable old DirectX games to work faster on Arc than Arc natively
Oh, okay.
because of the Vulkan translation layer.
No, it just
I'm glad that Gordon was facing this way for that eye roll, because if they probably saw it on the back of
just
your
because
head.
it's I mean that's just gonna it's gonna they got a lot of obstacles to get past.
Yeah.
Be a player in
But
here, and
they're
if
here.
that is what it takes.
But they're here.
They
right?
are here,
That's a
so-
good thing. And maybe the fact that Intel is now in the fight as well has spurred on competition over here. And you know, you never know. You never know what exactly is really kicking these guys in the pants and making them like move things forward with OBS and like AV1 encoding. And
Based on what I see in this room, it does seem as though AMD is attempting to get more aggressive with their software stack as a cohesive thing to address what people want. Because I see stuff in here that is, oh, if you have Radeon or you have a 7000 series desktop CPU that has built-in stuff, plus the other thing, plus some of the stuff they talked about in the presentation today.
yeah, I'm definitely excited to try it.
So I just want to make sure I was still in frame. So
Do you want us to slide over a
no,
little bit?
it's me.
You want us to duck
I need
down
to drink
maybe?
a little more, then I'll be in the wrong place.
I think, let's see, I got Joker Productions gave us $2, a Bavarian Normal
Oh, we have
Plate gave
super
us
chats. How much is the
$6
super chat? Do I get Adam? Can you?
Hector,
we'll
have
cut you in.
USB
We'll cut you in.
Gen,
Yeah,
Gen
for
C
sure.
speed, please. We don't know.
What's
They
the,
did-
que-
they
what's
didn't
the
tell
question?
us. It was how fast is the USB-C? 5 gigabit, 10 gigabit?
They said DisplayPort over.
Well, go ahead. Can
Well,
we say?
well-
Also, somebody asked, like, why even have USB-C there?
Well, VR headsets.
I don't
Right.
think because it was in the last session. I don't think we can answer it.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I thought that was something that they had talked about earlier, but if not,
I'm trying to think. That's we got to be careful, folks,
Yeah,
'cause
that's
we
true.
do not want to screw something up.
that's true.
It is. Yeah, it's a little puzzling because NVIDIA had USB-C as well, and they got rid of it in the latest generation, right?
Because power.
Well, I mean, honestly, when was
two
the last
generations.
time? When was the
Oh,
last
two
time you plugged a GPU in through USB-C?
You know what I plugged in as a card reader to like my son's
Through the
card reader.
GPU?
He didn't have a USB-C on his motherboard, so I plugged it into his video
I
card.
tried to talk AMD into leaking the USB-C was for more power because of the fires, but
Oh, let me ask you that.
external
Wait, I
power.
got. Do you think? Wait, you do think? You think
Do I
too
think?
many cheap shots? You think they too
Yeah.
many cheap shots? I think it's
Yeah.
the all shade edition. I like the drama because
you think it's a valid approach.
I think, frankly, as a journalist who covers it,
Uh-huh.
it's a lot funner when they're yelling at each other and throwing chairs.
Right.
Yes, then we can all get on our high horse. Oh my God, that's just so wrong. But
Yeah,
man,
that-
I sure love talking about it when
Well,
they're yelling
Yeah,
at each other.
but when there's too much poop on the wall, all you see is the poop. You know, like I don't expect that there's going to be no shade thrown between the companies. I think that is valid, and you want to compare yourself to the next best thing, right? But when I'm in this presentation and I'm hearing like 5, 6, 7 times little pokes, little jabs, little this, little that, little labels on the diagrams, we get it. Like,
Yeah.
we know who you're going after. We know what their faults are. Tell us what your strengths are and why we should choose you. Like, I don't care about them. I'm not here to talk about them. You know?
Are you also then? So you're also at the same camp. You want to see more comparisons versus any GeForce card, right? Even 30 series.
I would love to see any direct comparisons at all.
is that
What
another
is
different
that?
one?
Oh,
She's got next to it.
I didn't even get one.
Was that
of those.
one the
We get
key?
those in our goodie bags, so I'll get one on the way out.
It's like a matching set.
That's pretty cool. I haven't even seen that yet.
Oh,
there you go.
check it out, Brian.
5.3
And that is
terabyte
allowed to show
chiplet.
on camera.
We are allowed to show this on
Yes.
camera.
Yeah.
I'm actually really happy that the height appears pretty uniform,
Yep.
which is not something that we had dealt with in the
They
past.
learned that lesson already.
Yeah.
They're ahead of the curve.
I had a system that I had built, a water cooled system with 2 Vegas 64s. Getting those cards to have the same temperature, impossible. Because once you take the paste off that came from the factory and try to reapply a paste and put a water block on it, and they're all uneven with the HBM, It was a nightmare.
Even the thermal material, you
There
couldn't
was-
get a TIM that
well,
would make
you
up
had,
for the
You
gap.
had one half of the die that had this much thermal paste on it, and the other half had like none. So it was bad. But it looks like they fixed that problem.
It's
so.
just so funny because you immediately said the same thing because it does look like Vega.
Yeah.
Like I swear, if I had a Vega die,
Yeah.
I would think this is Vega, right?
Yeah.
But it's not obviously.
not.
RDNA 3.
I've got a couple super chats. Friend of the show, BC Jester, gave us $5 saying, he said, congratulations to Brian for breaking the world record, even though you got second instead. Whooped
I
all
did
those
break the world
so-called
record.
experts.
I don't know if you guys saw that. I broke the Port Royal world record, and then it got taken down, and then I
What?
posted a number 2 score after that. So Port Royal, when you're running it at negative 50 degrees, sometimes has some glitching and some artifacting, and I was doing this on a live stream where it was very clear that it wasn't exactly, it was a glitched run. I don't know how many of the other top 10 of the Port Royal leaderboard are running that way. I don't know, but mine was very clearly glitched. So I guess somebody saw it or whatever, or they looked at the frequencies and they're like, that can't possibly be the right score. They took it down the next day. But I persisted. I went back and I posted a number 2 score. So now I'm number 2 in the world.
So you got your score up there.
Yeah, it was
But
up there
then-
for like 8 hours.
But then the judges came out and says, "Well, we got to send this back to Secaucus."
Yeah, they threw
They're looking
flags.
at it.
They came running out. They did the replay thing.
They're
They
looking
threw
through
their
the
flags.
thing.
Yeah.
You
And
get
they
the
come out
perfect,
on the field. They're like,
No, they went on the mic. They're like, after review.
you get the perfect dismount, but if your tibia is sticking through your skin, that's a disqualification.
That's a really good comparison. yeah. I
Are
couldn't.
you okay? I'm fine.
I couldn't quite stick the landing, I guess, but I was number 1 in the world for quite a while. Thank you very much. Who was that commented?
BC Jester.
I just
All
think
right,
it's
thank you very
terrible
much.
because you just like, I did it. I
was so
Oh
excited.
my God, we won the Super Bowl.
I
Like
was so
there's only
excited.
10 seconds left. They fumbled the ball. Raiders fan. That's a fumble. We got it. Oh no, that's not a fumble.
Yeah, I was
yes,
very
it's
excited when it
sports
happened,
ball.
but like, that being number 2 is almost as good. So.
We do have a couple serious super chats. $5 from Bobby0081. With chiplets and tiles becoming the new normal, how long before everything in the SoC is, or everything is on the SoC? CPU, RAM, GPU, all together on the same die.
There are penalties for chipletizing things. And so it doesn't make the reason it makes sense here is because you've got different scaling of different kinds of circuits. And it really, the delay to chiplets for GPUs makes sense because the things that might be nice to chipletize suddenly have interface problems. And that's just a well-known thing because you need a very wide, very fast interface, and every interconnect is going to slow you down, back to speed of light problems. And transitions through materials and then needing transistors, and then you have to wait a certain amount for a transistor to state to settle and then continue on. Even things like the old Vega interposers, there are transistors in the substrate to redrive the signal. And every layer of transistors you add to redrive the signal increases the amount of time that you have to wait for it to settle. So it's a problem. So you got to really strategically choose how you chipletize something.
Yeah, I'm glad Wendell's here.
But it makes sense. I mean, well, so do you buy because, you know, Intel's been talking about Meteor Lake, which is going to be their, you know, stacked and all kinds of crazy things. And it sounds like Intel's saying, look, we're going to get to the point, we're going to solve the problems of monolithic versus chiplet with our.
I 100% think it's smoke and mirrors. They're going to do that for their top end product. Everything else is going to be monolithic because that's all they know how to do.
Really, it's just that's your thing. You gotta.
They'll figure it out eventually, but Sapphire Rapids apparently ain't it.
Okay. And Meteor Lake is not going to do it either. It's too soon. Too soon.
It'll be closer, but for things that are like 32 cores and less, I just don't think they're going to be able to do it.
We got another super chat from Warren, friend of the show, Warren, 5 Canadian dollars. Wow. Any additional information about the AMD Advantage desktop program that you can talk about?
Yes. No.
Well, that was easy.
I'm trying to think what we can say.
No,
You
there
could
wasn't a whole lot.
I mean,
They-
you can't say what partners are here. They got setups in the back.
There's
Yeah.
Origin. There's Cyberpower, Falcon Northwest,
was
Zydax.
There's like 7 or something like that.
Yeah, seven.
Yeah.
Now.
This system is built entirely with MSI components, apparently.
Really?
Or wait.
I have it here at the end, I think.
We've lost one.
He'll come back. He'll
try to
come
find
back.
He'll
folks.
wander around the room.
So
slide, too.
I got it right here. Oh, here we go. 'Cause
okay.
it's like, you know what? You gotta name all the
Yeah.
partners, otherwise somebody's gonna get angry. You got CSL, CyberPower, eBuyer, which is new to me.
not heard of
Falcon
them.
Northwest, Main Gear, Origin, Zydax. Those are the
Got some
those-
some big ones in there.
Yeah, so those will be the first big system integrators.
I
that
am
will be
definitely
aboard.
kind of I'm interested to see what this program looks like. You know, I'm not a huge proponent of SI systems, but they certainly have their place in the market, and there are a lot of people who prefer that the one-click solution, right?
Yeah.
Not have to worry about the warranty through one partner. Like that's
Yeah,
it.
I mean I will say that's our DIY bias, and we sort of view everything through DIY.
Yeah.
SI system integrators, they ship way more systems than
They
like
yes.
actually on volume. They ship more, but that's the thing is like you get everything from a very nice, super expensive $7,000 boutique system to the POS $600 that is somebody didn't put half the screws in because they got to do the next box. So
Or they sold so many they redesigned the motherboard to only require 2 screws.
right, I mean that is the cool thing, right? Like they figure out a way to cut corners and then make
Yeah.
and then actually they make enough. They have the motherboards made so that's literally with no corners. So.
Toloy asked if we think that MCM is going to be the future or if it's just going to be HBM. And I don't think it's going to just be HBM.
You think HBM is
mean,
ever going to show up?
Yeah, where's
'cause of
that? When's
cost?
that coming back?
It
Like,
just feels like,
I mean, Intel says HBM's coming back.
yeah, but on Sapphire Rapids, though, right?
Only the very highest end that's like insanely fancy. But yeah,
I haven't heard any murmurs about that at all. So I don't know. You must be talking to some different people. But I mean, I'd be interested to see if HBM does make a comeback. It was an interesting venture for AMD. I think it was a really interesting approach for them with Vega. But I mean, in reality, I mean, it's just been
it's on the compute cards
Yeah.
right. But how much are the compute cards?
a lot.
A lot. So for practical consumer applications, is it even worth it at this point?
Another question from $10 super chat from Broke Brad. Well, you're extra broke now that you gave us $10. Do you think AMD didn't release FPS comparisons with NVIDIA because they do not want NVIDIA to know what they have before launch? It's the other way.
Huh.
That's an interesting way to think about it, I guess.
It's not unusual to be able to get 10-20% more driver because like you got to figure the silicon's pretty early, and so the driver thing probably is a big part of it. But how much can you got the compute on paper, how much can you squeeze out of that?
But it's going on sale on December 13th.
Yeah,
Well,
That's not too far away.
I don't know, considering that when we get review units, you often get a driver update 2 days before the launch.
yeah.
It's certainly possible
Yeah.
that we could see drivers mature, from now to then.
The 4090 driver also solved a lot of problems with the 3090, and I really wonder if they were holding back some of the fixes for the 3090 until the 4090, like the driver API overhead problems, because it's dramatically better on the 3090 and the 3090 Ti for the driver that launched with the 4090.
Huh.
I guess I haven't done that comparison yet.
It depends on the game, but if you're just doing stuff with the API and you've got some absurd frame rate that you're chasing, the API overhead is considerably lower on the 4090 driver with not the 4090.
Oh, interesting. And you just gave me a video to shoot, so I'll work on that when I get back.
But it really, I mean, would they hold it just to not let NVIDIA know? Is that
I
even
don't
worth
think
it?
so.
I don't think it's.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's worth it. I wouldn't buy they would do that because I'm not sure whether they're not showing off direct competitor numbers because they don't feel like they're ready, or they just don't feel like they want to, just to let people figure it out when they, because honestly nobody believes it anyway whenever they say anything.
Yeah,
Nobody-
these things do tend to be.
Are you Gordon Long? Can I get a selfie with you?
Oh, we gotta get out of the way. Gotta get out of the way.
Jared from Tom's Hardware, we need to get him a mic.
Oh, he's cashed the streams. Call security. Get him out of
yeah,
here.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is like, he ran Maximum PC for decades. Maybe.
Oh my God, that makes me sound really, really old. I was there a
Do we have
while.
any super chats?
Yeah. Can we say anything
Crazy.
on overclocking?
No.
I don't think we can pick him up without
Yeah,
a.
we don't have
He
next
needed
right. They can
to
hear him. They
testing.
can hear him.
Can't tell you that either.
All right, Jared. I'm gonna.
Or
can
Brian,
I?
Brian, no. Do you mind passing the mic, Brian?
Yeah, sure. I'm very unimportant,
Yeah,
so
no,
I'm just
you're,
giving my
you're
mic,
louder
you know?
than Jared.
Louder than me?
Yeah.
So all right, Brian, you think more numbers should be here? You think they're holding because maybe they want to wait for them to bake a little better?
Yeah.
And then Jared, what do you think? What are your thoughts? Because we don't really know how we are not seeing any direct competition with the numbers. Does that bug you?
No.
What do you think?
I'm going to talk into your mic.
That sounds
Talking
good.
to your mic. I'm going to go drink my old fashioned.
No,
I might
stay.
circle back. I might circle back in a little bit.
All right.
So,
Good talking to you guys.
Good talking to you.
I mean, like, the XTX, it basically competes against the 4080, which hasn't launched yet. That's coming in, a couple of weeks, probably. And the price is $1,200 for NVIDIA. They're undercutting that. I'm not sure they'll beat them in ray tracing, but I think if you look at 7900 XTX, that they're going to probably beat them in lots of traditional games, and they're $200 cheaper. Like, it's impressive. I'm a little iffy on the 7900 XT, like the $900 price point. I'm like, it feels like it's less than $100. I mean, more than $100 difference. Like $799 would have been nicer. $899, I'm like, it almost feels a little bit too much like the 4080 12 gigabyte that got
It
canceled.
worked for NVIDIA. Oh wait, it didn't.
No, yeah. So, it all sounds good. Like, architecturally, there's a lot of improvements. There's some cool stuff happening. The chiplet design, like, it should be a lot cheaper to produce. So I was looking at it, and, like, the canceled 4080 12 gigabyte is a 294 millimeter square die, right? But that only had a 192-bit interface, and it had 12 gigabytes of RAM. And we're doing, with AMD, we've got this GCD that's 300 millimeters squared, so the same size, on roughly the same process node. And then we're linking it up to a bunch of cheaper previous gen memory cache dies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that seems like a good way to do things if you can make it all work. So it looks really compelling. I'm excited to see how it performs.
We got a comment from the YouTube chat, but I'm going to make it a question. Is the chiplet design causing a limitation in frequency, do you think?
I don't think so. They've said they've designed it to scale to up to 3 gigahertz, but I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah.
I did not say that.
They designed it to go to a very higher
They've
clock.
designed it to hit higher clocks. I did testing with the 4090, and I power limited it to 120%, 110%, stock, 90%, 80%, 70%, 60%, 50%. So I did all these tests at different power levels with the 4090, and it's like, you could run it at 70% power level, which means like a 350 watt TDP, give or take, and you could get 90-ish% of the performance. I think AMD consciously said, let's do that. Let's not push way up the voltage frequency curve on our product. But their partner cards, I mean, the 6950 XT, I had a partner card that was 450 watts easy. Like, it was 100 watts more than the base card. And I think we'll probably see partner cards that push higher.
Yeah, and they did
lot
actually
higher.
say in the Q&A, which is public now, that partner cards will be able to overclock. So
Yeah.
there's going to be more headroom, which I think you've seen definitely more 49ers than I have. Wendell has, but it feels like the partner cards, a lot of people are like, why would I buy any of these over the Founders Edition? Because they don't get you more. It looks like that situation may be different with
Maybe.
Radeon, right?
I mean, like, the thing is if the partner cards are 5% faster, but consume 420 watts, it's the same thing that NVIDIA did, except NVIDIA did it for all the 4090s, and so I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I think AMD has targeted the sweet spot for efficiency, and NVIDIA with the 4090 did not. They simply didn't. They chose to go for the gusto and have 600 watt parts. I mean, not really, but some of them.
So what I'm hearing is if you want to build a really low power, small form factor system, it can only be Radeon.
Well, the mistake you're making is building a small form factor system, right, Gordon?
Why wouldn't you just put it in a bigger box and don't have to deal with your hands getting stuck in that? No. Yeah.
I reviewed small form factor for a long time at a non-tech, and I came to kind of dislike them. And I was reviewing them. I'm like, it's not good that I hate the things that I review, like cutting fingers, smashing wires. I get that. I get why people like it, but I'm like, no. I build a big box and I set it to the side of my desk, and maybe I have enough room in my house, and that's why it doesn't bother me.
There's small form factor like the Cooler Master NR200. It's like, I like that small form factor. And then I also did some builds in the Encase M1, and it's like, I want to die.
It's just not, to me. For me, the compromise is not worth it. That's my whole beef. If it's your thing, I think it's great. But
Look, I built a ship in a bottle. Good for you.
I don't know what the advantage of it is, except that it's tiny. If your space
It
constrained.
looks neat.
But it is true. You're not jamming a 4090 into a small form factor box anytime
No.
soon, right?
I saw someone I think is doing a blower version of a 4090. I don't know if it's 2-slot, but like Jensen hates those blower GeForce cards because then the compute monsters can slot 4 of those into a system, and they're like, I don't need that old professional card. I can just do all my compute on this blower cheaper card. So that's interesting.
Well, would you be able to keep a 4090 under wraps with the blower style card without the fans sounding like a server fan?
Well, if you're doing a workstation, maybe you don't care if it's running that hot, or I don't know.
You're not in the same room, you don't care.
Power
Yeah.
target, too. Probably a lower power target.
Oh,
They
that's true.
could reduce the power target to set it at 80% and be like, yeah, now it's fine. I mean, the thing is, the dies are big, so it's like on the CPU, when you're doing 250 watts, you're doing it in this dime-sized thing, and it's like, well, we've got 4 dimes doing 600 or 450 watts, so it's a lot easier to keep cool.
Yeah, it's hard to get the heat out of that die. So
Yeah, it's a big challenge that they're dealing with.
overall, though, you think you're looking pretty positive to you overall?
Yeah, I mean, like,
reception?
I think the $1,000 price point, like some people are feeling that was lower than they expected. Others are feeling like it's about right for the Halo card. You know, it's taken over the 7900 XT, kind of the 7950 price point. Like, it's close enough. I do wish like the step down was a bigger step down in price.
Yeah, because it does. It's weird. $100 does seem kind of silly.
Well,
I mean,
and they gave us game clocks officially, right? Like, we've been told there's boost clocks that are different than game clocks. I don't know if we can talk about those. I thought we could, but I won't say them. So the thing is,
Ian says you should say more NDA stuff. Yeah.
oh yeah. So the thing is, the game clocks are 2.3 gigahertz on the XTX and 2.0 gigahertz on the XT, but I mean, it's like Intel going, hey, our Arc A770 is a 2.1 gigahertz part. No, it runs at 2.4 gigahertz all the time. That's what my testing showed. So I'm like, how fast are these things running? Well, if you do the math and you look at the 61 teraflops number that they're saying, you can find out their boost clock. They didn't give us the boost clock or anything on the XT, but I mean, we'll have to see how high the XT runs compared to the XTX. If they're close on clock speed, maybe $100 isn't that bad, but I still think you either get the XTX or you don't get a 7900 card.
so if the XTX is $1,000 and the XT is $900, and you think they're too close, are you telling AMD to increase the price? I just want to.
I'm telling them to
Of
drop
the-
the price of the XT. Like I was telling someone, I said, remember when the 5700 XT and 5700 launched, and they were $449 and $399 2 weeks before launch, and then right before launch they're like, oh, by the way, we've changed the prices. It's $399 and $349. I think that's what they should do, at least on the XT, and be like, hey, we debated NVIDIA again, and this is actually a $799 product.
what
And
if
then
it-
everyone would be, that's great.
What if they're actually 4D chessing us here? So the 4D chess move would be the AIB partners get the best silicon for the XTX, but it can go a bazillion times higher, but it's going to cost $200 more. Whereas the XT that AMD is selling, they're selling it at just a crazy margin, and it's expected to be wildly crappier than what the AIBs have. And so you're
But
going to
it's
get just,
$300 less now.
well, it's probably not $300 less, but maybe another 50. So,
Oh.
so you could see something.
I
That's,
thought you were saying that the partner XTX would be $200 more.
the a partner XTX is $200 more,
But they're
but
pinned
the
up
XT,
because they're pinned up though.
Right.
yeah,
Is
but
what
the
you're saying.
XT is roughly the same price, maybe slightly cheaper, maybe $50 more expensive, but roughly the same price.
Yeah, like that, it would make sense.
That would be a 4D chess move, I think, because it lets them have their cake and eat it too, in terms of pricing, market aggression, and response to NVIDIA.
Right, and it makes the partners happy because they
Yeah.
have a part they can upsell, and people can see it's actually you're getting more out of it,
Yeah.
a little bit more, or
Yeah.
more, or a lot more. To be honest, we don't know.
So the other question is, like, is there going to be a 7800 XT using the same GCD, but with like 16 gigabytes of memory and 4 MCDs? Like, that seems like a possibility, but it also depends on yields of their GCD. It's like, do they need to have a version that only has like 64 or 70 or whatever compute units enabled? I don't know. Like, that's the whole thing about this chiplet thing. They can pull off some of the memory chiplets and make multiple products out of it.
How much can you really lose before you?
Yeah, before you've gone too far.
And then yeah,
But there,
We did have speaking of another SKU, Dr. Ian Cuttress asked, with the 7950 XT version, what would that look like? 36 gigabytes of GDDR6X, new silicon, 14.
It's obviously the 7973 gigahertz edition. Obviously.
that would be cool. 79, 73 gigahertz. I mean, that works for me. The memory is hard because they've only got 6 memory controller chiplet links, right? So it's like, you can't go to 36 gigabytes unless someone makes 3 gigabyte chips, which they don't. You could go to potentially 48 gigabytes, but that would be a big change. I think actually 7973 gigahertz edition have faster clock 21 gigabit per second memory and stack an extra L3 cache on there. So it's 192 megabytes of L3 cache, of infinity cache. Like, maybe that's worth it.
Yeah.
and that is one thing that there were a lot of rumors there would be stack cache
Yeah.
today. This is not a stack. This is not a stack
No.
cache part. These are
No.
basically along the sides of the die.
Obviously, it would be trivial to be testing that right now, though.
Yeah. Like, they, you'd have to have something where you can, like, you don't want to have the cache be higher than the chip because that'd screw up cooling. So they'd have to change something to make it work.
Well, we know
based
from
on this.
we know from the desktop CPUs though that the Z height does not change. They just grind it down.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So you grind off some of that silicon. Well, they have to expose the TSVs.
Yeah.
The through silicon bias.
The little holes in the chip, folks.
That's
What it
right.
is. Fancy name for the gopher hole.
Which have been there since Zen 3,
Yes.
which is fun. They
Yeah.
put them there in testing in Zen 3.
Really, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So this is a question. Get someone, Fritz, whatever his name is.
Fritchens, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was
Fritz
just thinking. Because
Like, have him grind this down, and are there TSVs in these memory
yes,
cache dies just waiting to be used? I bet there are.
yeah,
I bet there are.
yeah. I bet there are too.
But it doesn't say that they're going to execute on it. It just
Right,
could
yeah,
be
yeah.
they.
They
sort of
didn't execute on it on Zen 3, but they could have, and they probably did in the lab
Right.
They did on Zen 3. They didn't on Zen 2.
or Zen 2. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I mean.
But they only executed on one Zen 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing, folks. If you want to talk about DisplayPort till you got a headache, I get headaches talking to Wendell and Jared about DisplayPort. How big of a deal is DisplayPort 2.1? What can we say about it? Is it a big deal? Do we
I mean,
care?
it's good to have. It's
Okay.
it's absolutely, like, I'm still shocked that Ada Lovelace doesn't have GP 2.1 or 2.0 or whatever. AMD is saying that they're ultra high bandwidth, 13.5 gigabits, so they're not the maxed out, but they're also saying, well, we're not seeing any displays that support UHBR 20.
Right.
Well, we saw a presentation today.
Oh, did you? So they're coming? UHBR 20 displays, yeah?
We don't know.
Oh.
It might be
Oh,
coming
that's
one
right.
day. But we don't. But what we do know, though, is that GeForce not having it is kind of like crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, they've been on DisplayPort 1.4a for ages. I think you were still writing for Boot Magazine back when they did DisplayPort 1.4.
Well, The 1.4 implementation in the 10 series was super bugged, and they had to
Yes.
come out with the thing, and it's still sketchy AF.
Really?
I know that from the KVMs.
Yeah, I've noticed when I'm testing, so I've got a 4K 144 hertz monitor, and it's like when I plug that into the 30 series and the 20 series and now the 40 series, it behaves one way, and then when I drop back to Pascal error, I'm like, this doesn't look as good. What's going on? And on a 900 series, yeah, it's like I think it limits it to DP 1.3 on 900 series. Yeah. But like the DisplayPort 2.1 stuff it's good for AMD to have. It's bad for NVIDIA to not have. But it really only matters if you go out and buy a DisplayPort 2 monitor. So if you're going to continue using whatever you have, then it doesn't matter at all. It only matters once you upgrade to your display.
Yeah. I'm surprised by the number of people that bought the Samsung G9 and the G9 Neo, the ultra wide, and there's a thing coming at CES from Samsung, and that's all I can say because that's on the internet. That's a thing on the internet.
They announced that Neo G9 ultra wide in the thing today.
Well, yeah, but
Like they said, it's coming. Like
there's some more details.
Oh, okay.
But
We got to be careful about the
yeah,
details.
But
yeah, the ones that came from here anyway.
But
it's
I
not
mean,
an ultra wide. It's double wide.
Well, that's what the G9 is. It's two 1440s
Right.
crammed into one panel.
do either of you buy the reasons why? So NVIDIA has said we use DisplayPort 1.4 because that's all there was at the time the part
No,
was.
that's nonsense. It's literally just the signaling rate of the DisplayPort pairs. You can do 10 gigahertz, 10 gigabit right now without any issue at all with the inexpensive PHYs that are on the market. So you could at least support that. And that's kind of what we see on the motherboards, because like the motherboards are like, oh, it's DisplayPort 2.1. That motherboard connector ain't going to signal at 240 hertz. I got news for you. But it will do the protocol. It'll do the software. So NVIDIA might be able to do something to get some of the software protocol there, but it is trivial to support 10 gigahertz. Now, if you want to go faster than, or 10 gigabit, if you want to go faster than 10 gigabit, it gets a little sketchy, but
But then why then? Because it really just makes you wonder why they would not have done it. Yeah, but I agree because I don't have a DisplayPort 2 panel. No,
supply chain, and they had a giant box of DisplayPort 1.4 physical interfaces.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like,
the cost issue
So,
then.
so can I ask you a question? Because I'm not sure I understand this, and I've tried reading some stuff. Tell me about display stream compression. What exactly is that doing? Because it's a constant change in the packing of the bits,
Yeah.
so that you get like a set ratio, right? It's not like variable rates. It's a set rate.
Yeah.
So, but it's not 422 or 420. It's something else. So what are they doing?
it's totally just at the PHY level, and this is a gross oversimplification, but think about a compression scheme that is not exactly lossless, that they will try to
very-
Oh no,
visually
it's lossless.
lossless.
It says lossless.
Yeah,
No, it's
it's
visually lossless.
visually lossless. That
Okay.
doesn't mean that data was lost. And they will take the format of the data in kind of a temporal format and do a really, really like first year computer science student level of compression, because almost all of the data is zeros. So when you get a block of zeros, it's basically like, oh, there's about 64 zeros coming through here, but it can do a lot more than just a block of zeros, because of the pattern that ends up happening when you're using like YB, YC, YR, and all of the other stuff. So it's a really, really, really just boneheaded, very cheap to implement transistor level.
That happens very fast,
Yeah,
too, right? Because
yeah.
it's simple, so it's easy.
Yeah, yeah.
So they convert RGB to YCRCB. What is it?
Well, no, you can do RGB, or you can do YB, YC, YR, or you
I
can
thought
do,
DSC required it to convert internally the format, but I could be wrong. This is why I'm asking.
it might convert it and then convert it back,
Yeah.
because it's just a binary stream at that point. It's just like the runtime compression you get from like, zlib runtime compression.
Yeah.
It's really, really super lightweight.
It
What-
sounds like it's not very special then.
No,
No, because
And it's like, this is why I say it's funny, because like on the 10 series, if you try and do 4K 144 hertz, like it looks bad on the screen, and I think it's because it does 420.
yeah.
Like it can't do it as
It's
444
trying not to do it with display stream compression.
because it doesn't support it.
No, the reason is if you go look at the GeForce forums, well, this is my impression from working on a KVM. if you look at the GeForce forums for the monitors that had early support for display stream compression and basically force enabled it, there were tons of people at every driver update. They're like, this driver update from NVIDIA has broken my monitor and I don't understand what's happening. And it took NVIDIA a long time to address those issues. And the reason is that because when that compression is enabled, if your cable is a little bit dodgy or your DisplayPort connector is a little bit dodgy, a tiny, tiny error in the compression will decompress into way more errors than you would get. And so the uncompressed signal having problems is not really a big deal. People see that all the time. If you just put a black screen on your display and you look really close at it for long enough, you will see RGB speckle that's it's the least significant bits, but you will see that in any kind of dodgy cable, and some, even like 30 series cards, like it's like this connector, I can see a little bit of RGB noise with this particular cable. It's because it's a digital signal on an analog domain. But when you get display stream compression in the mix, there's not error correction. And so it really can spiral out of control very quickly.
And then you get a black signal on your monitor and you go, what happened?
And then you have thousands of users that are like, your driver broke my stuff. And
I have this, it's an Acer 4K 144 hertz monitor, and it came with one cable, and I'm like, this cable, it's only like 4.5 feet long. Like, this is not long enough. And I went and I bought a cable, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, it works at 4K 60, and then it breaks above that.
Fiber brand, fiber optic DisplayPort cables, just replace all your stuff with that. They're about $100 a cable, but it's worth not having a headache.
See, that's it. I don't even that.
The only other brand
I
is
only
Club
caught
3D.
1/3 of that.
There is nobody else that makes a copper cable worth a damn.
I just can't believe that it is that the DisplayPort's this messy. Even
I literally, like the Asus UX42PG came with a crappy cable that wouldn't work by itself.
from the factory.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Hey, by the way, I just got the 10-minute warning. We got 10 minutes before they're kicking us out.
Oh,
Kicking us out.
Oh yeah, it's dinner time.
Need any? Yeah, it's time to go eat.
Hold the GPU.
any last?
Jared.
So any
Oh, the
last?
GPU?
Yeah. Hold
Any
the
last
GPU.
questions?
Any last questions? We should take questions from everybody.
Do you think AMD's waiting? The broke Brad gave us $5 more. He's continuing to be broke. Do you think AMD is waiting for the 4090 Ti to come out and they will release a 3 gigahertz card to compete with it?
Like, they're both going to be a refresh product. That's my take. I think 9 months from now, you get a 4090 Ti and you get a 7950 XTX gigahertz edition. Or 7970 gigahertz edition, sorry.
More.
That'd be
3
crazy
gigahertz.
not to do a 7970 tribute edition. It'd be crazy.
Crazier things have happened.
I mean, that card is legendary, and this is the card with chiplets. It should be legendary.
Dr. E. Country at the notebook GPUs when? He also asks OBS support for AMD AB1 when?
Yeah,
I think they're talking about doing it, right?
it's literally there.
Oh, so it's in beta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bad Tech gave us $2 Canadian. Thank you so much. Said, can someone
That's only like
tell-
50 cents, right?
I know. I have no idea. The conversion's horrible.
In
Can,
these
some-
uncertain times.
yeah. Can somebody tell AMD/NVIDIA that 8K marketing is BS? Can somebody just go talk?
8K marketing is BS. Yeah, I mean, like, who owns an 8K display? The same people who buy a Threadripper and dual 3090 Ti's?
I think I know everybody goes cynically, that's crazy, but I like the average consumer. If you say 8K,
They're going to go, whoa.
oh my God, it's 8K. It's more than my 4K, and
Yeah.
that really is.
That's 8K.
I know people really, but that I mean, cynically, I know it works.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people bought like 4K 13-inch Ultrabooks because
I'm
it's
never
4K.
going to get an 8K OLED. It's just never going to happen.
I think
Not
it, but it
never.
works though. It's a simple marketing. 4K, people wanted it, even though most people didn't need it or actually shouldn't have got it. 8K is going to do the same thing.
I mean, like, yeah, we're finally at this. We're at the point where 4K is legitimately viable. You've got the stuff to power it in whatever you're doing, games and otherwise, and it's not too expensive. 8K today is where 4K was like 8 years ago. So, eventually, yeah, we probably get there. My problem is, like, I like 100% DPI scaling in Windows. It just doesn't work right otherwise.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the size display I need for 8K. I mean, at least like a 50-something inch monitor. I'm like, and Who
is-
wants a 50-inch monitor while I'm working in my spreadsheet?
You know,
like that's
it
insane.
really is impressive that Microsoft still can't even get 200% scaling right. Like that's genuinely like, how do you screw up that badly?
Well, and it's not just it's the other applications that aren't from Microsoft that are so bad. Like you launch Photoshop and you're like, wait, what happened? Like my menus are tiny.
Yeah.
Well, they can't even get the menus in the left side of the screen anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Too
surprised.
soon, too soon. We got a $5 super chat from a long string of text numbers. I'm not going to say it. Any word on APUs? Performance equal to a 3060 mobile.
They haven't said anything, but they like
It's got
they're
to come.
coming, right?
Yeah.
Like the question is, so they've kind of been coming faster. So we now have RDNA 2 in APUs, and it's 2 years after RDNA 2 launched. But they've been there for how long has it been since the 6000 series? Like almost a year, right?
Yeah, at least.
So they only took a year to get there. So how fast will RDNA 3 get into an APU? I think we could see it like in the next 6 months.
I think so too.
And-
Because they know they have a winner there.
But the hard thing is, like, one of the big advantages of RDNA 2 and now RDNA 3 is the infinity cache, which the APUs don't have.
Yeah.
So it's like you're back to, I guess with LPDDR5X, it's okay.
Could they just do? Could they do an infinity? Well, it's not cost effective. Then
They could, but it wouldn't be. It
so-
increased the price and all this other stuff.
Somebody was asking about an embargo. When?
Can we say?
No,
You probably can't say.
We do know you'll be able to buy the cards on December 13th.
Yeah.
AMD guy.
So
what's
I
the-
think we'll know. We'll
That's
have
Chris.
we'll know by December 13th what you'll know by the time you can buy it. I'm
Yeah.
sure. That's, I don't even know what it is, but I'm
Get
guessing.
subscribed and we'll let you know.
Yeah. Ian wants to know: is there AMD Founders Editions or AIB cards only?
This is the Founders Edition,
that's the
right?
Founders
Like
Edition.
it's not called that, but this is their internal design. It will be sold. If it's like the 6000 series, they don't do it in the quantities that NVIDIA has done Founders Editions, right? Like they kind of phase them out after time.
Right.
I don't know if that's still going to happen with this. I mean, it's a nice looking card and it's small. Like I wish I had a 4090 to set next to this because like some of those are just monsters.
I'm really not sure that it's any bigger than like the 6900.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it
it
feels
looks
like
the same size almost.
Yep.
So they have a huge size advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, like it feels pretty chunky.
And yes, obviously, and there will be add-in boards coming soon,
Yeah.
probably.
RZDE, are you taking that GPU with you, Jared?
I'm just gonna put it in my back pocket and walk out.
Yeah, there we go. Can it fit in your pocket? That's the right.
So that, like, you guys heard about the Newegg guy who got the metal the bricks in the box or metal
Yes,
plates and
yes.
stuff, and I'm like, I think he scammed Newegg. Like, I just don't see how.
You don't believe it, huh?
No, because I worked at Target warehouse and there was no way you could take a 4090 out of a box working at Newegg. It's either he scammed them
Well,
or maybe the
Somewhere
shipping.
along somewhere between. It's a pretty long trip
It is,
to get there,
it
and
is,
I think
but-
it's. Let me tell you, I have a temporary job working in shipping, so maybe I did
No,
it.
he doesn't.
I
No,
mean,
he
you
doesn't.
would. It's entirely possible.
It could happen on the shipping side. It definitely didn't happen at Newegg. And I had people in our article commenting, and they're like, yeah, I'm sure someone at the Newegg, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no way. They've got cameras on warehouses.
no, it's-
You don't walk out with a big graphics card. So I don't think it was Newegg.
But it could be anywhere along the time it got there. So
Yeah, I mean, but
it could be the driver. I mean,
the driver had to not want it to keep his job, but it's still really suspect.
I'd get fired for 4090. I
Yeah.
would. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
James
Can I have
Pryor
your
says,
job if you get
what's
fired?"
up, dude?
Hey, it's James Pryor.
Hello, James
How's it
Pryor. And then Hein Blod
former
is asking
and
about
also
the price of 6000 series cards. How do you think now that we know this, how it's going to affect the stock that's still out there?
I mean, the hope is that they've been clearing out inventory and that there aren't many left, right?
It feels like the prices are compatible with existing inventory anyway. 'cause
Yeah.
6900 XTs are $600. I mean, crazy
Yeah.
good deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like the 7900 XTX is supposed to be what they say, like 70% faster.
It's a good deal faster. So
Yeah,
like it feels like they have it priced to they can still sit on top of those.
it's almost like NVIDIA did launching the 4090 so that they could still clear out 3090 and 3080. They're launching the 7900 XT, XTX, and they can still sell the 6000 series while they clear inventory.
Do you think also they haven't said, but do you think both companies also want to push higher end, older inventory out, and that's what they're going to use to club Intel over the head? Because the 3070 going up against the A770,
It wins.
it's not pretty, right?
No.
So, and same thing with AMD. They can like, hey, we're getting rid of these things. They can stop Intel from getting any real foothold by just kind of crushing them with older inventory.
They could do that. I mean, Intel's got some good OEM ties, so I think we see a lot of like OEM pre-builts that are going to get Intel Arc.
Yeah.
Maybe if they can solve the driver problems first, though. So
They're better now.
they're better, but it's just I think OEMs. I
mean,
think
anyone who's used an Intel laptop in the last decade knows that Intel graphics drivers had problems, and yet there were still all these Intel
The
laptops.
DisplayPort topology tool. I'm coming for you, developer that did that.
You should hold this. Why?
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I think their ultimate goal is they got to get rid of these previous gen cards as fast as they can. I still think we're going to get some good Black Friday
oh,
deals.
it's going to be. I do think that's a lot of the anger over the increased prices. People got to realize it's going to be the best time ever, right?
Watch out.
It's going to be the best
day ever.
for-
Oh,
to buy.
Berg.
No, to get into the GPU market. It's going to be the best time ever, don't you
We
think?
need security again. Yeah, Jared, if you don't mind.
Jared's gonna.
Yeah, he's
I will hop off.
No, so my argument is that I think it's actually the best time.
While
ever.
Steve appears.
Jared is going. We got Steve from Gamers Nexus here. He's got things to say too. Let's
before
get him
they
on the
kick us
mic. I
out.
want to hear his opinion.
I don't want to hear my opinion.
Are they before they kick us out?
Yeah,
no, I do.
Were you? I saw it. I want to say first of all for Adam behind the camera, I saw you struggling when the lights were up and down. Adam's over here like reaching up to the light, turn it
Oh
up.
my God!
Turn
Yeah,
it down.
I had no control over the lights. I would just look up and just be like, "What's going on?"
Adjust the ISO a little
Everything
bit.
got blown out suddenly, and then
Yeah. So is that all you guys pulling too much power?
yeah, probably. No, I got a 4090 over here and a
Oh,
13900K.
okay. Can't have that in here.
That's
All
a
right.
fire hazard.
All right, so I think everybody, we're live basically. PC World Stream. We're also live on Level 1 Techs.
Cool.
Steve from
Okay.
Gamers Nexus. We want to hear what your thoughts are. You've seen it all.
Well, you already posted your thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, but more thoughts. Like he can be more raw here because he's like, oh, I don't care what I
I'm
think.
a little scared because Gordon's got the Bud Light in his
I got the
hand,
Bud
so-
Light in my. Gonna go off the rails here.
Yeah, that's already gone.
PC
off.
World Unfiltered.
Yeah.
Are you happy? Unhappy?
I
What do you-
think product side, I'm really excited. So like the multi-chip stuff, we just shot an interview. We can't publish yet, but it was related to some of the architecture, so everyone will learn about it later. But at a service level, multi-chip is super cool. I mean, it was really cool with Ryzen also, and now it's coming over to RDNA. So the implications there, just from,
Oh no, they've added the music.
oh yeah, are you gonna get demonetized? Okay.
Not for this song. No one will recognize
It's a
it.
shit show of a stream. You know, it happens.
Well, hopefully they don't get demonetized. But anyway, yeah, so cost perspective's good. Yeah, that helps drive costs down. In theory, a lot of that does go to consumers, I think. I don't think it's like they just keep all the cost savings for themselves as long as there's someone pushing.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like, oh, great for AMD. They save more money. And then on the performance side, I have absolutely no idea. They didn't really give us enough to go off of, I don't think. So I'm kind of reserving judgment on performance.
Well, I mean, I think that's the thing is now everybody's like, oh, this is a bad sign. Some people are like, oh, I don't know, but there's a lot of people like, oh, they're not showing us.
Yeah.
Not good. No, you think
I
that
don't know.
reserve judgment.
I think they want to compare it to the 4080, which, to be fair, you can't compare to yet because
Yeah.
it doesn't publicly exist. So I think that's the comparison. Question I asked on Twitter earlier, I'm curious about your thoughts to this, is does AMD's pricing, because it's fairly aggressive, does that influence whatever the 4080 12 gigabyte will become?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like
That's yeah.
price or name, right? Because they technically they can change it if they want.
Yeah.
No one knows yet.
Right, and they have a lot of time until I mean, 'cause
Probably CES. So
they'll adjust that. I think yeah, it'll come out as 4070. No, actually, which again I'm surprised. I'm really surprised they just tell everybody to go F yourself. We're gonna do it anyway. It could come out as 4080 12 gig. Still.
that would be
It's
bad.
entirely possible.
That
but,
would be bad.
but I mean, they said they've heard from it. I think so. It'd be 4070. They're gonna have to price it based on what
I
these
feel like
cards
it's gonna be
come
like
in
a
at.
TI or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So we had related to that. We had a 4D chess. It could be a 4D chess scenario.
Okay.
So the 4D chess scenario is it's the XTX is priced at $999, and it is what it is. So that AIB partners could price it $200 more, but really juice the clocks and the performance and everything. So there was a huge difference between AMD's version and the
Right.
partner version. But the XT version is roughly the same price, but OEM partners will have a substantially better performing card.
So do you think that was factored into AMD's pricing decisions?
If they have set up that scenario, bravo, that would be 40
I feel
chess.
like they would say that.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like that's one you would take credit for, but I don't know.
But you don't say that out loud because 4D chess moves are always secret.
They might
They're
not say
always
that
secret.
out loud if they were going, for this whole
What if it's
anti-NVIDIA
5D?
thing.
You say it out loud because you're trying to trick them into reacting somehow.
Debated once again.
It is
I
very
didn't say it
plausible
this time.
though. What do you think? You don't buy it? You just
The 4D chess?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But it's possible.
I
because they
used
did
to
say publicly it would over the added they expect headroom.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, they'll be more expensive. As for whether that's like part of a master plan, I don't think so. I think every time I've tried to come up with some 4D chess explanation of a company's decisions, I've been wrong. So, I think it's probably a lot simpler than that. I don't know.
Crap, they're stealing our thunder for E CES.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The pricing, I wish we could have spent more time talking about pricing, like in our video, because it is interesting. But the turnaround.
Yeah.
I think it was like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, and we had to walk like 80 miles through a casino to do it. So,
And if it was me and I was buying it and it was $100 more to get the XTX, I'm just going to shell out the extra $100.
yeah, you'd shell out the extra.
Yeah. That's
Or-
why that one was tough.
Yeah.
Because of-
Especially if I was building a whole new system and it's got all of that cost for everything else. $100 is likely to be like 5% of the cost. Just bite the bullet and
Do you think? I mean, that sounds like more traditional. Push the upgrade
yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
Make it close enough that like it's a whatever.
I think that's the most compelling piece of evidence for 4D chess is that the AIB partners are going to cost a lot more than $100 more.
Yeah,
And that something in the $800 to $900 will exist, not for the XTX.
right. I mean that makes sense too. I think in terms of launch strategy, where do they go next? Let's start with you, Gordon. I think because Gordon's got a lot of opinions. Been in the industry a while. He's got a Bud Light in his hands. So,
I know I had enough to drink. I think they got to have a 4090 competitor.
yeah.
Because this
Okay.
is a legit 4080, clearly. I mean, price to compete. It's supposed to be a 4080 killer, the real 4080 killer, not the
fake one?
not the not 4080.
Yeah.
So I feel the next target is you move up, because I think both of them just think we're just going to be stuck with these older cards for a long time. We're not going to go down there and play, but it feels like they want to get
Does that give Intel any kind of advantage if they're left alone in this lower cost segment? I
You
mean,
know, it does, because they are only competing against last generation parts, which is a benefit for them. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it could just beat them bloody by, let's just push prices down. Great. We'll just, hey, you know what? A770 can fight against a 1070 Ti even,
Right,
or even
yeah.
3080s, which is crazy. But-
yeah.
and that's not even a fight at that point. So
It is interesting that they're unchaperoned in the price segment that Intel's in, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 30 series, kind of still there, But
yeah, and it's going to be hanging around for a long time. if we believe everything. So
Right.
why would AMD want to go down there and mess with it? I mean, there's no point, and especially if they have plenty of products to sell.
Yeah, if there's a one warehouse, okay, maybe, but if there's more than one warehouse, there is no choice but to go to the high end.
Right.
I think something that's like 4 memory interfaces and then about half the real estate for silicon would be a better thing to focus on for the next gen, were it not for warehouses and warehouses and warehouses of unsold 3,000 NVIDIA cards and 6,000 series AMD cards.
Right.
And with that, it's like they're already made. Your cost is, it's a cost recovery at that
It
point.
feels like it's 100% profit. 'Cause
Yeah.
You lost the money a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Not how it actually works, if anyone's going to start a business. But that is what it feels like when you have something that's been sitting. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we finally sold that unsold inventory. Oh, thank God. I can write it off.
Well, real quick, got a very important question from Luber Jobby. Gave us $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Is there the AMD Mountain Bike 2.0 here?
Oh, no. There is not. And
Now you know. And also, Andre gave us a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. That appears to be demonetized, being an all-star in the chat. So, yeah,
Oh, thank you.
Thank
Although that money probably also went to MGM, but that's fine. It's the thought that
it all
counts.
goes to MGM eventually. Any other questions, Adam?
Yeah, what's for dinner?
What is for
Nothing
dinner?
now.
Nothing.
There's no dinner. I missed lunch and dinner today. So.
I bought, Andrew on my team bought us breakfast this morning from Starbucks and it was $42. So I'm good on the,
Yeah, apparently, if you have not been to Las Vegas, I haven't been here in 3 years.
Yeah.
They are trying to make up for 3 years worth of lost Starbucks sales on
Yeah.
one Starbucks. cup
I
of
noticed
Starbucks.
walking around the mall here that there were a lot of shop proprietors that were standing anxiously outside their doors pretty much all day.
yeah.
Like, where are the customers? Is our economy okay?
It's like the most Wendell comment.
James Pryor asks, what is 8K?
What is 8K? Well,
It's an existential question.
yeah.
Also, Ian Country's asking, are we going to CES?
No, I'm not.
No,
No.
I
Steve?
think I will.
I think I will too. I'm hoping to.
It's yeah, I think, I don't know, it's like a standoff where the manufacturers keep asking, are you going to CES? And for us, it's like, are you going to CES? Because
Can we go virtually? Can we
Otherwise-
just schedule a Zoom meeting?
no, that's terrible.
Yeah,
I'd
no, I
rather do
don't wanna
nothing
do
at
that.
all. Like,
Well, I mean, I do think though that this has felt like a CES like event because
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I haven't been to Las Vegas in 3 years. So
Yeah.
being in Vegas and the big giant hallways that you have to walk 5 miles to get anywhere, and
yeah, it felt like
it
it.
feels like CES will actually happen this year, a real one.
James Pryor says he'll be at CES. If anybody's asking.
Yeah, we'll see you there, James. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll go. It's I like doing the events. So my travel endurance has gotten really bad, but I do like doing the events.
I'm looking forward to Computex.
Computex will be great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping that really happens because I definitely missed that one. That's a great show, best
Yeah.
PC show ever.
Yeah, that's for I guess people in chat who don't know. That's in Taiwan every year. So, well, every year until COVID, and that show's great because there's normally a really large engineering presence there too. So you know all the companies are pretty much based there.
Yeah, no, it's just a wonderful. Like, it feels like PC Island. So I love it. That's
Yeah.
a great show.
Flubber Jovi gave us some super chats, and that's how my toilet lid collection's going. It's okay.
Wait, you have
It's
a
only
toilet
okay?
lid collection?
You don't know this?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Oh, you need to know this.
Wait.
Yeah, well, so I knew a plumber, and he left me his toilet lids, and we were friends. And it's a thing. You can buy them online. And
I feel like you really
No, no,
you
it's-
really undersold it
it's
though.
it's
Wendell.
replacement. There's several hundred of them going back to
There you
the
go.
turn of the 20th century. So you can get a 19th century toilet lid in case you break it.
Like a historic toilet lid? Do you know of any like famous people that sat on it?
There are some, but you don't know which one is going to end up being historic. So the vast majority of them are not in fact historic. Some of them are like just turquoise colored from like the 70s, because it was really popular in the 70s to have a toilet that wasn't white. So I have a lot of toilets from that era that are paisley yellow, turquoise, and like this really just unsettling green. Not a good choice for a toilet.
What about crushed velvet?
There's no custom. No, they're all porcelain.
Oh,
it's just
dang
different
it.
colors,
Wait, but
different shapes.
You have literally 200 toilet lid covers in a. Are they on display?
No,
in your
they're
museum?
just- no, they're just. I actually before COVID, I actually had a guy lined up in Arizona that has a website that sells them lined up to buy them, and I was going to freight them out there, but then. Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you collect, Steve?
Definitely not toilet. I don't think I can contest toilet lids. You've got to have me beat there. I don't know.
I mean, it's basically inherited an entire plumbing shop, and that's just one of the things that was in the plumbing shop. That's like, why does this exist? And it's like, well, it turns out people accidentally break their toilet
It's-
lid, and they don't want to
yeah.
buy a new toilet, and then so here's a library of replacement toilet lids.
I think the only thing I have an actual collection of is probably PC game boxes, like from when they were still sold. And at one point, I don't know why, I decided to actually alphabetize it and then also do it chronologically. So it's about 4 shelves of them. It starts with Lemmings, I think, and I don't know if that was late 80s or early 90s.
That was a
but
good game. That was a good game.
Command and Conquer, all of those are in there. But then they killed PC games in a box.
Yeah.
So that was the end.
Well, speaking of killing things, we should kill the stream.
Thank you, everybody that super chatted, and thanks for hanging out.
Take us away.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining the stream. It's been fun. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Wendell.
I'll take that away.
Everybody,
Please
Level
take it
1
away.
Text PC World. This has been a blast. And thank you, MD, for having us here in your booth because it's been a pretty cool day, I say. So wait for the reviews. But I think it's going to be very exciting when we see them. So see you later.
Fun times.
Hopefully
Thanks,
soon.
everybody. Thank you.
Are we done?
Goodbye.
I can't tell. He's talking to his mic.